Hello, my name is Andrew Bale and this is my wife Tracey.
Together we are responsible for the Salvation Army in Southend and South Church.
Unlike other churches, the Salvation Army organises itself along quasi-military lines. I'm a major and Tracey is a captain, although ranks are normally designating according to years of service. We are the church ministers here in Southend. Before being appointed here in 2015, we led the Salvation Army just along the A127 in Rayleigh.
As the officers, we are responsible for the administration of the church, or core as the Salvation Army calls it, here in Southend, and of course for preparing, organising and leading communal worship in our building in Clarence Street on a Sunday. Although like many churches, we've been worshipping virtually since March last year. Like all church ministers, we have been incredibly busy during the last 12 months in preparing and presenting virtual worship and in supporting the local community in a practical way.
A year ago, I had very little knowledge of video editing. We have no team here when it comes to preparing virtual worship, and so I've had to teach myself a whole new set of skills. The process is time-consuming, challenging, and even at times frustrating, but the rewards have been phenomenal.
We have seen our congregation grow with people joining us from all over the world. Today we have regular online congregants in America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Sweden, Pakistan and Korea, to name just a few.
It has been a truly humbling and at times even overwhelming experience to see how God has taken and used our weekly offerings to build up his kingdom. We've received messages from people who have reconnected with God, and even from some who have found a faith and linked up with a local church. This ministry has proved so valuable and effective that we're hoping that we'll be able to continue with it in some form even when we return to normal worship.
If you want to see some of what we've been up to, then you can find links on our Facebook page or by searching our YouTube channel. Just Google Southend Citadel Salvation Army online worship.
Of course, there has been much more to the last 12 months than just preparing online worship, and we've also been very busy supporting people within our local community in a practical way.
We have provided food parcels for those who have been financially impacted by the pandemic. We have regularly supported several women's refugees in the surrounding area by providing them with additional food. We have been able to help people struggling financially with their energy costs. We even helped one couple who had been relocated to Southend under the Witness Protection Programme by providing them with items like bedding, clothing and utensils and crockery.
Of course, this is the kind of support we offer all the time, whether or not there is a pandemic. But demands for our services over the last 12 months have rocketed, and yet we have found that any additional financial burden placed upon us has been miraculously met by donations, some of which have been anonymous, for which we are incredibly grateful.
In addition, at the beginning of lockdown, we set up a buddy or befriending system to support members of our congregation who were particularly vulnerable and having to isolate. We also made this service available to those outside of the fellowship via Southend Borough Council. We've also finalised with the council the go-ahead to establish a new modular housing project that will help long-term homeless people transition into permanent accommodation.
We were even contacted by and happy to help a local supermarket whose delivery drivers had been struck down by COVID-19, and we were able to assist by delivering to vulnerable customers who were having to shield. We've been asked to share something about our fellowship that we see as being especially characteristic of the Salvation Army.
Like all churches, I'm sure we would describe ourselves as a lively and happy fellowship where everyone receives a warm and unconditional welcome. Anyone can come and worship at the Salvation Army. You don't have to wear a uniform or play the tambourine.
When it comes to music, we have a brass band as well as a contemporary worship group with guitars and percussion. We sing a mixture of old and new songs. We try to make our preaching practical and relevant to the world in which we are called to serve.
The Salvation Army is often referred to as Christianity with its sleeves rolled up, and I guess perhaps more than anything else we are known for the practical way in which we carry out our Christianity. Our worship is relaxed and doesn't have any complicated rites or ceremonies. We are only one of two mainstream denominations I know of that do not practice sacraments such as baptism or communion.
That's not to say that we do not recognise the importance or significance of these activities, but we feel the best way to remember Christ isn't through observing special ceremonies, but in the way we live our lives. I don't believe that makes us any better or worse than any other church. It's just who we are, and collectively, along with all of the other expressions of Christianity in our area, we're working together to build God's kingdom in Southend.
Albert Osborne was the general of the Salvation Army back in the 1950s. The general is the international leader of the Salvation Army and the equivalent of the Pope. Albert Osborne was something of a poet, and I think he sums up what Andrew is trying to say in the following way. My life must be Christ's broken bread, my love his outpoured wine, a cup o'erfilled, a table spread beneath his name and sign, that other souls, refreshed and fed, may share his life through mine.
We really hope and pray that God will bless you, along with the work of all faith groups in the Southend area. And once things are back to normal, if you're ever in Clarence Street, then do pop in and say hello. We would love to see you.
God bless you.
God bless and stay safe.